Hit it, baby.
Hit it. All right, folks, welcome. It's another episode of our Zoom Up. It's our meetup on Zoom. My name is Michael Huggins, coming to you live from Tennessee, and I got my co-host today out of Chicago. What's up?
In the sub-zero frozen Chicago today.
Good luck, my friend. It's going to be 45 where I'm at. Sun is shining.
Nice. All right, what are we doing
So,
here, man? What are we doing here? Give these guys an idea.
so, folks, the reason why we're bringing these episodes for you today, and as well as this giant playlist we've been building, is to inspire you to get off your butt and go do some real estate with us. The idea of behind real estate investing as a way of a lifestyle, as a way of making your ends meet, is so empowering when you know what to do with the right knowledge, with the right people. There's a lot of people who don't have a support system. There's a lot of people who don't have any idea what to do, but they all have a passion for change. And so our system for years and years and years has documented hundreds and thousands of people transforming their lives with financial and real estate education. They're paying off debt. They're getting ahead of the game. They're saving money. They're getting cash flow in properties. They're doing all sorts of stuff. I replaced my yearly income with one deal, one short sale that I flipped. I made more money than all my job was going to pay me all year. And so I've been a fan of this system for the last 10 years. I've introduced hundreds and hundreds of people to this program, and because of that, affected thousands of other people. And so we're bringing you this video series to remind you, hey, look, you can change your life with the right amount of information, support, and time. You can change your life. Scott was on this amazing track record of success in his old business, his old career before he found us. Just to have
Well,
technology
that's relative.
basically wipe him out. He had
Success is relative, right? So I was on a path to working my entire life with a company to I hit a hip replacement, and I was okay with that until I lost that, and then I found other people like in this group. I met a nurse, a firefighter, an art teacher that had money coming in, so they didn't need to fight traffic anymore, and that money just happened to be rental properties coming in. So I'm like, maybe there's another way. So I hooked up with this group, and that's one of the reasons we do these Zoom ups, this meetup on Zoom, is so that you can identify with other people. I mean, there's some going to be we've done tons of these, so there's going to be somebody that you see that's like, hey, they're like me, and then you get a chance to hang out with a group. Right, the best way to do real estate is a team. It's a team sport, so making sure you're doing it right with the right knowledge and the right people, dotting the i's, crossing the t's, doing it legally and ethically is so important, because you can lose a lot if you do it wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's so much potential for money to make, and if you do it wrong, it could really wipe you out too. So, part of our goal, our mission, is making sure that people are doing real estate practically, tactically, following, like Scott said, all the T's, all the I's, making sure everything is above board, legally and ethically. So, get back with the person that invited you here to today's live one, or if you're catching the recording, check our other recordings out, as well as you're going to want to attend an intro, a house tour, and a workshop. We got a couple of these coming up. They are by invite only. They are not open to the public. So you do need to get back with the person who invited you here. Get on the private guest registration list, and then we'll get you those links so that you can see. I brought my mother-in-law for just a quick story. I brought my mother-in-law to one of these intensives. She's got a master's degree in something, something. She's got a federal government job. So she's feeling like she's pretty secure. At the beginning, she was like, Michael, why are you dragging me here? I already did my education, blah, blah, blah. That's how I got my job. And I said, well, hold on, this is totally different. Just watch. At the end of the workshop, I was showing her, look, I'm going to be a real estate investor. At the end of the workshop, she was like, holy crap, I need this too. She realized she was paying too much in taxes, didn't have any passive income. So the idea is, just because you're doing okay, keep an open mind. Come to a workshop, come to an intensive, and see really what's possible. So that's my plug for the events coming up. Scott, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, and at the end, I'll give you an idea. We got a really special workshop coming up, so I'll hit it on the end. But today, we've got a special guest on. Our story for today is a girl that's near and dear to my heart. She works with us right here in Downers Grove. In fact, she lives right by the office here, and I have known her since 2008. It has been fun. I mean, when we talk about having family to work with, this woman is definitely part of that family. She's very close to my wife these days. Please help me welcome our story today. Tell her story. Is Candie Baker DeYoung, everybody.
Hey everyone.
Hey,
All right.
Hey
So Candie,
guys,
give
thanks
us
for
an
having me
idea.
on.
Yep. Tell us exactly how what you were doing before, how you got started, what kind of, that first deal, and then maybe what you and your husband are doing now.
Okay. Absolutely. So I am actually in the same office that Scott's sitting in right now as well, just like what, about 20 feet away.
Yeah, you're right over there.
So I've always had an interest in real estate. I mean, it started with Monopoly as a kid. Uh, but fast forward, I decided, I got married, and this is my first marriage, by the way. And I got married, and I decided I wanted to, become a realtor. I wanted to get into real estate. It was something that I really liked. We wanted to buy a property, and we figured that that's where to start. So I took the real estate, test, became a realtor, but that was back in the 80s, and I'm probably dating myself, but back then, the interest rates were really, really high. They were like 18 to 24%. It was crazy. And I was about 23 years old, and I looked probably about 18. And people didn't take me seriously when I was selling real estate. I mean, I did okay, but so I decided I wanted to stay in that realm of real estate. So I worked for a property management company, and I became leasing director for I think it was the third largest property in Chicago, the third largest property management company in Chicago. And I did that for a while. So I kept in that realm, but I always had a thirst because I wanted to do fix and flips, and I wanted to have rental properties. I was able to get a 3-unit with my first husband and I. We picked it up for $50,000, and I think we sold it 3 years later, maybe for $120,000. That was in the city in Chicago. And I kept asking him, I'm like, I really want to take some of these classes, the overnight classes, the ones that you're up at 2 a.m, like the Carlton Sheets and all those. And he never wanted to do it, never wanted to do it. Fast forward, needless to say, I am no longer with him. That was probably one of the reasons is our interest went in different directions. And he thought that they were scams. And I knew that there was something else out there that I needed to find. I wanted to find that I wanted to, do. So I'm a single mom. I find myself a single mom with 2 little boys, 4, and I think my oldest was 6 at the time. And my first husband and I made good money, and so I had money. I didn't have to really work, but I knew that I had to sustain myself. But I also wanted to balance that mix of finding something that I wanted to do, which I wanted to be in real estate. And then I also wanted to raise my kids. I didn't want anybody else to raise my boys. I didn't want to go out and get a job and then pay someone half my salary or whatever it was, to raise my kids. That just wasn't my thing. So in 2000, let's see, I forget what year it was, but in the early 2000s, I met my current husband, Ken, and we were dating, and we decided that we wanted to get into real estate investing. Now, I had bought a Carlton Sheets course, and I was, I got discs and all this stuff, and I didn't, and an 800 number, and then a book about 4 inches thick. And I couldn't figure out, I read it and I started going through it, but it just didn't give me what I needed. It didn't give me the support. So I decided to go to a boot camp. I went to a boot camp. I bought some coaching. They would not talk to me about real estate until I went through that 4-inch book of, they were like word problems, and it wasn't real life. And so Ken and I talked about it. I had a real estate background, right? I was in property management. I had my real estate license, and my husband was a contractor. So we thought we had the perfect storm, right? We're like, we can figure this out. So we bought a property, and we bought it wrong. This is without any education at all, other than a boot camp. We did take some coaching, but the coaching, we had to go through that 4-inch manual before they would even talk to us. So we had a property during this time, and we were fixing it up. We bought it wrong. I didn't have it in a company name. I had it in my own personal name. I used my home equity line of credit, which wasn't a bad thing, but I didn't use it properly. After I took the education, I realized what I did wrong. So this was in 2007. You guys know what happened in 2008, right? The market tanked, 2008, 2009. So we, at this point, were going to, we were supposed to make about $40,000 with it. But because of what happened in the market, and we had to hold that property. So all the money that I had was going in to pay this property, pay the the taxes, pay the electricity, all that stuff. And this went on for some time, and we were really starting to run out of money. 2008 also happened, and I lost a third of the money that I had coming in. I also lost like 2/3 of my retirement account. And so I was faced with having to go get a job, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I had my resume out there, and someone that had known me or had heard of me contacted me, saw that I had a real estate background and that I had done a flip and things like that. And they invited me down to hear about an education. And I was a little bit skeptical because I had already taken a boot camp, gone to, had some coaching with Carlton Sheets and, had all that. And so I went down. Now I came down to this office back in 2008 behind Scott. I came down to that office and
Jazzy hands.
There
There we go.
And there was a lot of people in the entryway, and all I could think of was, this is just another one of those things, right? But I saw two things on the front marquee when I came in, or the front sign, and it said two names. It was Scott. It ended up being Scott's company, and then Bob, the other partner in this office. And I had their information tucked away in a folder at my house because it was all about real estate. And I was actually looking for more of a job, and I was interested more in the marketing side because I needed to bring in income, but the fact that it was real estate based, I just sat there and thought, you know what, I could walk because I'm thinking this might be, I don't know, something I don't want to do, or I could stay and listen because I have those two names, information on those two names that I had on the sign. So it was like Boozy and IQ. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay. And I literally, this was a Thursday, and there was an intensive coming up. The intensive was incredible. I heard the information, and I knew right away that I wanted to join. So I did. I met Scott, talked to him, and here I am. So I took the education. Both Ken and I, he was my boyfriend at the time, took the education, and we started doing flips. We decided that's where we wanted to start. And with his construction side and my knowledge of, finding properties and analyzing them, and then with the education finally backing us, we were able to do, quite a few flips. And we have rental properties, and now we're working on a short-term rental, which is going to be, it's on 5 acres. It's wooded acres. It's in about an hour and a half, hour 15 out of Chicago. And it's going to be great because we want to put tiny houses. So right now we have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath that we're turning into a 2-bath, and we're remodeling it right currently. We have a little horse barn that's about a 2-horse barn that we're going to turn into the first tiny home. And then we're going to continue to put other types of different kinds of tiny homes, including we're looking at doing a tree house, which
That's
that is the one I really want to do. And then we have an 1,800 square foot pole barn that we could hold events in. So we could do weddings, we could do retreats, corporate retreats, we could do a lot of things. So that's what we're focusing on now. We're not doing the fix and flip so much currently. It's just what we specialized in was a high-end rehab. And unless we made $60,000 to $100,000, I'm not touching it, especially in this market because it's a little crazy. So we've shifted gears and we're into more passive income and rentals. And eventually we're going to get into notes.
I got a question to see you're clear. So you see, you walk in the front here, you see what's going on, you go through the meeting, you go through the intensive that weekend, you're like, I'm in between, and you had a rough time with the deal in '08. I saw Michael's face. I'm like, oh wait, Michael wasn't born yet, so he doesn't know the '08.
It's all rumors to me.
It's
And
all
that was
rumors.
before I found this education. So
How
that
old
was
were
before
how
I had
old were you in '08 there?
20.
Oh, you were okay, 20. All right. So you're so between the walking in the building and then working with us, how soon did you have that first deal under contract?
Well, honestly, I did put some of my retirement account because I learned that I could utilize my retirement account.
Yeah.
So let me back up a little bit. So when we had done this deal prior to finding this education, we were pretty much tapped out. And then on top of that, I lost like a third of my income. And then I was also losing money in my retirement account.
Okay.
I started taking the education, and the first thing I did was I self-directed both mine and Ken's retirement accounts. Now, before that, I was thinking, I don't have money. I can't, how am I going to get the education, right? What am I going to do? How am I going to do real estate?
So so I'm going to get clear and help everybody understand what's going on here. So because they may think, there's such a chasm between somebody meeting us and then seeing that first deal appear for themselves. And they forget that, it's like lily pad hopping. Okay, now I can self-direct my retirement plan to use, right? Oh, I got to set up my entities the right way. Oh, wait a minute, this velocity banking thing, holy crap, I could actually create some space and use a HELOC off my house. So there's different ideas that people don't understand. It's just like, oh, I want to get a deal done. But with all of this, you're talking about setting the retirement plans up and everything else, the entities up the right way for tax purposes. But and this is how fast things can happen. This is my point. So by the time you walked into this place and then had that first deal with all of that set up, what was the timeline?
It was a little longer for me, honestly.
Okay, I'm asking you for a timeline, not asking for
I
longer.
would say it was about 10 months.
That's a long time, huh? See, and this is the key. Here's the problem with our group, Michael, right?
Yeah.
She goes, it was longer for me. 10 months.
Long time.
Right? Like
10
some
months.
people are thinking, wow, if I could do a deal sometime in the future, somewhere down the road. And, we come on these webinars and it's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, right? Like, well, I did things slow. I got my first deal done in 5 months. Like, it's weird, right? Like we have to caveat it to go 10 months. So you're doing all this setup, you're self-directing yourself, you're getting your entity set up the right way, right? All this pre-work to get deals done, right?
How much did you make on that first deal?
The first deal, I made, I did it with a partner, someone else. And we made about 11,000. So I went from 11,000 being the lowest that I've ever made on, but that was a split.
Okay.
So, okay.
And then if you want, I could tell you the highest that I've ever.
Yeah, tell me the highest now. Go with the highest.
It was a little shy of 118,000 on one deal, and that was closed within 6 months, beginning to end.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice.
And that was about, after I took the education, that was probably, so it was in 2012 that we did that one.
Nice. Pretty soon people are going to be like, I didn't do that good. I only made like 110 on mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we had a guy building a 100 unit building.
Yeah.
116 units.
Yeah.
Crazy. Right?
Yeah, it definitely does skew what people think is normal when they jump into this world. And so, I mean, Candie, you're another great example. In less than a year, you're banging out deals. Not only did you get the deal done, but you have the system set up to continue. And that's why we want to, what we equip people with ultimately is the system to continue working. That way you're not dependent upon us or 1-800 numbers or things like that, but that you have a system to be independent.
And the thing that when I first started, that I was most concerned with, because my boys were little, is I wanted to stay home with them. I was able to achieve that. I didn't have to get a job.
So you came down, you're like, I need a job. You walk in our front building. You've never needed a job since you started with us. Yeah,
Nope.
That's great.
13 years.
13
And
years.
yeah, exactly. And my boys, I was able to teach them lessons that I couldn't have ever taught them because I didn't know them. and I mean, it was, they were in some of our deals. They were in a deal with 149, or excuse me, 49 properties for 149,000. They were in that deal, and they were like 10 and 12 or 12 and 13. Then they rolled their money into some of our deals for like down payments and things like that. So earnest money. And so they've learned things at an age that that they wouldn't have had I not found and learned what I did with this group.
Yeah, you're prepping them for real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Candie's kids doing deals with Candie. Love it.
Yeah, they used to break up, I mean, we had them doing trim, we had them doing flooring, we had them doing landscaping, demolition. So they've had their hand in a little bit of everything.
Nice. Way cool. And that's that whole time you got to be around them. You didn't have to wonder who was raising them. You got to put your input. And it's the thing you said, there are lessons that you got to teach them and you didn't know them. I first heard you say you wouldn't have known your kids, but you didn't know the lessons. But you wouldn't have known your kids either if you were constantly shoved into a daycare and your work all the time.
Exactly. I was really blessed to find this group and this education. It's changed my life. I mean, some of my best friends are here.
Yeah. That's
Beautiful.
important. Like I hang out with, it's easy to hang out with people like this, right? It's a lot easier, to be honest with you, it's easier to hang out with real estate investors than a lot of my family.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because they're still in a mindset where, and I'll give you an example. I was having a conversation with an uncle of mine talking about how I went from paying 40% in income tax down to 7.5% in income tax. And you know what he said? Well, I kind of like paying for the firefighters and the policemen in the schools. I'm like, well, your property tax does that, buddy. So I'm doing more of that with rental properties.
Yeah.
So it's that misunderstanding, right? Like, well, I like paying taxes. That's your property tax. I'm talking about income tax, right?
Two different worlds.
Disconnect. And that was an uncle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some magic going on here, folks. So stay connected with the person that invited you to this, because there's a lot more to show you that we can't really cram into a 20-30 minute conversation. So like Candie experienced an intro, you're going to come to an intro. And then at that point, you'll either decide yes or no, or you'll say, you know what, I want to come to an intensive. There's one coming up on February 20th. For those of you who are catching this here live, February 20th.
Can I talk about that? Huh? Oh, you got to go ahead.
Yeah, seller finance notes. So I was talking to someone last night about this, and they're like, well, what the heck is that? I'm like, it's paper assets. And they go, oh, like stock market? I said, no, we are not dealing with stocks, but we are dealing with paper. And the difference being that we can get cash flow from the property, but we don't own the property. We get cash flow from the property, but we don't have to pay insurance. We get cash flow from the property, but we don't have to pay the tax. We get cash flow, but we're not in charge of utilities, maintenance, tenants, none of that, but we still get cash flow from the property.
I'm going to say something to this. We've got lots of students all over the country, right?
Yeah.
And when they see the guy that's going to be teaching, he's the fourth largest note broker in the country, and the largest private broker. The other ones are hedge funds. But when they see they go to his intensive, they're like, why am I trying to do real estate when I could just do this? Right.
Right.
So you may not want to come if you're in love with real estate, because after his workshop, it's going to be, you're going to be like, dude, I've been working too hard. I mean, You're still in the real estate game. You're just not dealing with all the liabilities of the real estate game.
We call his class extreme passive income.
Yeah.
So you want to get there. It is by invite only. It's not open to the public. So there is a registration process you must go through, and you do need to be registered, or we will not let you in. Okay, you got to be clear on that, and please register early.
And then beyond that, our education has all that stuff, right? Dealing with paper, notes, tax liens, deeds. You want to go beyond the notes. You got tax liens, deeds, being a short-term lender. There's lots of that going on.
Yeah. So stay linked up with us. Like we said, there's way more than we can fit inside of this half hour. I think this is episode 74 or 75 now.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got.
And I don't know if longer is an indication of better, but we're getting longer.
Yeah, we used to wrap these up in 10 minutes.
Yeah, like 10 minutes done. And now we're like, we got too much to say.
But this is great. Candie's story is a perfect example. Someone who had a little bit of desire and a little bit of experience, but couldn't get the system down. Society was saying no. Other people and families saying, go get a job, give up, give up. She's saying, no, I'm going to stay focused. And then to stick with this system and have it prosper. And then not only that, but you're helping other people. It's a beautiful thing to see. So I just want to recap that for those of you who are watching it. Send this recording to someone who you think it matters to. And with that, let's wrap this up. Anything
Stick
else you
around
wanna
for our
ask,
bonus
Scott?
questions. Stick around for the bonus questions.
Stick around. All right, folks, another episode in the history books. We will catch you on the next one. Have a great day.
See ya.